Here comes the Nasty Gram.
Send a priest to save my soul, forget it.
Welcome back to the Nasty Gram RPG podcast. This is Into the Storm.
I'm Dan. I'll be playing Helios the Immolator.
I'm John. I'll be playing Ariad Ein Ariat, the Elven Barbarian.
I'm Josh, and I play Sepush, the Druid.
And I'm Matt, playing Father Kyle Black, the Cleric.
This is your Dungeon Master Jake, and this is episode 10, Rainbow in the Dark.
I apologize for these transgressions. Wish I could say that I learned my lesson, but the bottle she's calling.
All right, so last week, Sepush got a massive case of indigestion from eating a fully armored soldier in snake form. But that was after him and Kyle Black had a crazy mushroom-induced acid trip and found a secret entrance into the mines, which you guys used to avoid detection. So here we are. We're in the mines. You have collapsed the exit so that there is no escape for anyone, and you're about to head in.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong? Let's do a little cutscene first. Okay. On an island somewhere close by where you are, the wind is howling. The palm trees are bending down towards the sand, and a villager wearing modern clothes from Belakai comes into his home. He closes the drapes and he looks over at an old woman who is lighting a candle at an altar to the god of storms. He shakes his head disapprovingly. A young girl comes into the room and brings a candle to her grandmother and lights it as well. The man says to them, "Why do you pray to these gods? They're dead." And the woman shakes her head and says, "As long as we pray to them, they live." The wind howls outside, and our four adventurers claw their way down this tunnel as the wind pushes them, almost trying to keep them away. Ariad, you're in front, pushing against the wind. Sand is getting whipped up from the floor, stinging your eyes. You can hear the caverns in front of you actually rumbling. What do you guys do?
Is it possible to move in this wind?
Yeah, it's just, you can lean against it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need to kind of push and put your strength into it, but it is possible.
And we're heading down.
You're heading into this tunnel. You've collapsed the side passage that would have let the other guards in, but also would have let you out. And you're making your way down this mine shaft. It's an older shaft that hasn't been used in a long time, but the walls are well carved. Every 20 feet, there are wooden support beams. So you kind of can get to those and grab on and catch your breath and keep going. There's not a lot of side passages, but you had looked at the map of this mine before you headed in, and you do know kind of which direction that you need to go to get to where you think Jorah Mor and Trias are.
I'm trying to think if Sepush is still in anaconda form. Slowly slithering down with the body of that dude.
Jake, how you said that we could lean into it, but we could walk through it if need be.
Yeah, so it's not going to be easy. But yeah, you can make your way through it. It's pushing against you. It's just a struggle.
Is the wind kind of deafening at the moment?
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
Okay.
You have to like yell over it.
Should we stop and wait?
I don't know how long it'll be for.
Is Sepush in human form or?
I think he is. Sepush is in human form, probably towards the back. He's moving slow because he's both very hurt and very full.
Okay. The torches that were on the walls ahead of you have started to be extinguished. The only light now comes from Kyle's staff. What color is it, Kyle?
It is glowing a bright yellow.
Jake, how far? The map's pretty crude, right? We might not have a good sense of distance.
It is.
Okay, so
It's really hard to tell how far you have to go. Do you think your character has any experience being in this kind of environment?
probably not mine specifically. Probably any number of catacombs or cities that have underground structures, but probably nothing so rough as this.
Okay. Yeah. It's really hard to tell.
Okay.
It can't be too far. I mean, well, you're not sure how far he can kind of reach out with his magic. But based on the potency of the wind that's rushing through this tunnel, it feels like he must be close.
I think we have to go.
All right, let's keep moving.
Lead the way.
John, why doesn't Ariad give me a defy danger strength check as he pushes forward through the tunnel?
That's a 9er.
Nice. Okay. So you're taking the lead. Like I said, every 20 feet or so, there are wooden supports. So you kind of stop and you wait for everyone to catch up. And then you carry on. And this rock dust is just pelting you. It's just getting in your eyes and everything. And it doesn't feel very good. And you make your way to the next sort of support. And when you get there, you see a rock in the ceiling come loose, and you just narrowly kind of avoid it as it smashes the ground next to you.
Whoa! I don't know how much longer we can keep going.
I can't hear you.
I said, I don't know how much longer we can keep going.
He must be close.
As if in response to he must be close, the tunnel shakes. It feels like an earthquake, and rocks start to fall off of the walls. And for a moment, the wind actually dies down a little bit.
We move forward.
I think we must run. All of us. Sapush, do you understand me?
He's
in uniform. He's in uniform.
Okay, cool.
Sapush isn't looking good. He's in the back of the pack, and he looks really dried out, like withered.
Right.
And old. I mean, he almost looks like old and ancient, like raisiny, frail. I mean, he's physically hurt, but you can't really see. He doesn't have any visible wounds because when he changed back, his essence is weaker, and he's in this kind of like not natural environment for him. And he looks at you and nods slowly with his eyes open. Good radio, just nods.
Cool. I think Helios will drop back and just make sure that he's not like kind of left behind.
I'd say Kyle's back there with him,
Okay.
helping him along.
Being the good caregiver.
Being the windbreak.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And Ariad?
I'm trudging forward. He's also not looking great, but you can visibly see blood all over his armor and his clothes, and he's limping a bit, like holding on to his side, but he's persevering.
Awesome.
Do you carry a shield?
No,
Okay.
two-handed.
Too bad.
Yep. I guess Sapush leans close, probably leaning on Kyle as they're making their way down, and says, "We have to face Trinas, but I do not wish to die away from the sky." He just kind of turns and looks at you, Kyle. He keeps trying to push his legs, move forward.
Yeah, I understand, my friend. I'll do everything in my power, and Dio's as well. We'll get through this. See the sky at the very least.
With Ariad leading the way and Helios close behind, kind of surging forward when the wind dies down, taking advantage of that brief break before it picks up again, you guys make your way past a few more supports and to a break in the tunnel wall, a place where the miners clearly broke into a cavern they weren't expecting. This is the place on your map where all of those artifacts that were in the keep came from. Ariad is the first in, and the rest of you follow close behind, and the four of you are standing there in this massive, think almost like the inside of a soccer arena, like the domed ceiling,
All right.
and carved into all of the walls, leading all the way up to the ceiling, are what look like crypts. There's statues, full life-size statues of people. Each one looks unique and looks to be like the front of some sort of crypt, some sort of massive burial chamber.
How is this kind of huge area illuminated?
Well, at the moment, all you can really see is what is coming from Kyle's staff, and then there is a flash of light, and the entire cavern is illuminated by a bolt of lightning that crackles across the ceiling and actually destroys a few of those statues and dislodges stone, which starts to kind of fall around you. And in that moment, when this bolt of lightning illuminates the cavern, you see on the ground near the center the body of Jorah Mormont, this massive, probably 50-foot long serpent with bird-like wings. Its body is crumpled, just dead on the ground. There's blood pooling around it, and floating above it is Trinas.
We're definitely not ready for a boss fight.
Nope.
How is there not a fucking safe spot?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we really needed one of those.
As the room is illuminated and rocks are pulled off of the wall, some of the smaller pieces of rocks and the dust start to swirl around him. And you see this, he's in the center of some sort of cyclone of wind. And then the flash goes away and you just see each other. You can no longer see him.
Is the wind still howling? Or-
It is. Yes.
He doesn't go away. Just the light goes
The
away.
light goes away. Right.
He's probably still there.
Good. Just lurking in the
If
darkness.
you can't see him, he
Right.
can't see you.
100%.
Probably.
Yeah.
So imagine this room about the size of like a football field. So he's on the 50-yard line. he's like in the middle of the room.
Ariad looks back at Kyle and says, I hate to ask you, but do you think you could ask Dio for some healing? He draws his sword out, two-handed.
Do you have an
Helios.
hour?
Oh,
Let me check my watch. Helios is going to conjure a small fire in his hand.
Okay.
I look at everyone in turn.
Jake Bush is going to look around for. Besides these crypts, there's no openings, there's no side tunnels, there's no.
Yeah, it's
nothing.
hard to tell. At the moment, all you can see is whatever Kyle's staff is illuminating.
Okay.
But go ahead and give me a discern reality roll, and with the next flash of lightning, we'll see what you can figure out.
Is that wisdom?
Yes.
That's a 12er.
Ooh, wow. Okay.
Wow.
Why don't you take a look at that while we see what everyone else is kind of doing, and as soon as it's appropriate, we'll do that.
Okay.
Kyle Black. What do you do?
Looking around at everybody, and I'm not quite ready for this, gentlemen.
well, we came all this way. We can't just turn back.
We cannot turn back.
Well, then, Ariad kind of turns back towards the emptiness and starts moving into it.
Ariad moves forward.
Mhm.
There's another flash of lightning, and what is Sapush looking for?
I can ask 3 questions, and I'm going to ask, what should I be on the lookout for? What here is useful or valuable to me? And what here is not what it appears to be? So what should I be on the lookout for? What is useful or valuable to me? What here is not what it appears to be? I'll tell you, the approach Sapush has is that we need to get away. That's what Sapush is thinking.
Okay.
Is that we're not ready to face Trinos. Maybe there's another way. Maybe there's somewhere we can slip away and hide, extinguish the lights. I can maybe transform and guide them?
It looks like there are several other exit entrances to this chamber.
Okay.
All kind of along the perimeter. There's maybe 4 or 5 different tunnels. You're not sure how far they all go. You should also be worried about falling rock, because as this bolt of lightning cascades across the ceiling, you see more pieces of rock fall, and you actually think that the center of this cavern is going to collapse.
Oh,
Like the roof of it.
okay.
Ariad, you see this flash of lightning and you see Trinas, but as you get closer, you notice that he's looking different. His form is changing. His legs seem to be fusing together and growing longer into a serpent-like body, and his outstretched arms are turning into feathered wings. You see that for just a moment with the flash of lightning, and then it's dark, and then all of you hear a roar. And there's another flash, and then the room is illuminated as the ceiling collapses.
Helios dives for cover.
Okay. What are you guys doing?
If it's collapsing, then yeah, diving for a crypt or something.
Josh, Sapush, the best way, I mean, the safest way would be to go back into the tunnel you were in. I mean, clearly moving through this tunnel would just increase the risk of this, crumbling ceiling falling on your heads.
Do I think we're going to get blocked in if we go back?
It seems like the entire ceiling is going to collapse. You might be blocked in, or unless you can get back to the waterfall. But you think that Trinas is going up.
You could rush the middle. You could hang out with him. Yeah.
I don't think I'm not computing. I'm just like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Guess Sapush is probably already kind of towards the back. He's got a hand on Kyle. He's looks around, and then if things start coming down, he probably just grabs onto Kyle and weakly lurches back towards the tunnel.
Okay.
Must get away.
The two of you start to pull back. Ariad dives for a crypt as the statue above him crumbles onto him. You see the skeleton of what was inside as you land on top of it, and then everything goes dark. Helios, you see a similar thing as the head of a statue above you falls.
How big are these statues?
They're human size.
Okay.
It
But it's
falls
rock.
straight down, and that is the last thing you see. Sapush and Kyle, you move back into the tunnel just as it begins to collapse, and you're in darkness, and you're all dead.
We picked the wrong.
Wow. Game. There's your answer, Jake. 5 minutes.
You got to keep your
10?
your finger
on the page.
Yeah. Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, I got it right here.
Go back.
All right, now there's a fun rule here in Dungeon World when you die.
Are we really fucking dead?
Well, let's see.
Wowzer. Whoa. Wow. I think we had to rush the middle,
just got
guys.
real.
Oh yeah.
That
All
was
right.
an option.
What was that fucking game that was
have
super hard? That it was kind of like it had animated cartoonish graphics. It was an old arcade game.
Dragon Slayer? Dragon Slayer?
It was super hard.
Yes.
And
Yeah, you
yeah.
die in like the first
Yeah,
5 minutes.
everything you
Yeah.
choose
all
to
the
do,
time.
you just
Just
die.
ate all your
I
quarters.
just felt like we just played Dragon Slayer.
All right, so who wants to start?
What, roll last breath?
I'm not going to make you roll.
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
Well, technically, I have an upper hand.
I know.
And,
Yeah,
I know.
go for it.
I'll go
All right.
first.
Ariad.
Yeah.
Tell me about the Elven Pantheon. Do they have their equivalent of Mount Olympus, a place where the gods hang out?
No. In the glade, the elves don't really walk, or the gods don't really walk amongst the elves like they may do in this plane. Kind of thought that they either live in a different plane and look down upon the glade and kind of protect it. And one god, Thalon, who's the protector of the glade, he is thought to be manifested as the mist that surrounds
Okay. So Ariad finds himself in the presence of Thalon. What does Thalon appear to be to Ariad?
A kind of like a shadow of an elf obscured by mist.
Okay. You're standing there in this mist in front of Thalon. And you try to speak and you can't. You don't remember how. And you're starting to panic. You're starting to wonder why you're here, how you got here. And you see another form in the mist. You see a cloaked figure. When you look into the blackness of its hood, you see only oblivion. And it slowly creeps towards you, wielding a giant weapon. What kind of weapon does Death wield to the elves?
It's a long, wicked lance.
Okay. Now, for this scene, you're going to play Thalon. And your job is to convince Death of the importance of keeping Ariad alive. Because of what these humans have figured out how to do. It's important that Ariad stops it. Death slowly moves towards Ariad. It says, "This one is far from home, but it must return to me."
He has found something. He may have slipped by my grasp. But these humans, they have discovered some way of stealing power from us.
None escape death. Not even the elves.
It is true, we evade its capture for many years, but can death escape death?
It pauses. For a moment, Ariad, you almost see a face in the hood. It starts to sort of take form, but it's hard to make out any features. You're not sure if it's an elf. It says, "Even death will die after the last has been taken."
And what if this wizard kills death before that, steals your power?
Why has this one been chosen among all your kind? Why shall I return him to you?
Unlike the others, he is not content. He wants to see what is worth protecting. And he goes beyond even our realm to find that. Now he is putting himself in danger to protect those he barely even knows.
Very well. You will pay his price. If he fails.
Thalon nods.
Who wants to go next?
No pressure.
No pressure, no pressure.
John, take an experience for going first.
Okay.
Sick. Well,
I'll go.
Go ahead, buddy.
One more thing. John. Well, no, we'll do that after. All right. Kyle Black.
Dio's on fucking vacation, bro.
Kyle, where do you find yourself?
Walk out onto the black, two large black doors open, and I walk out into a large expanse of nothing. Huh.
Much like Ariad, you find that you have forgotten how to speak. You're slowly forgetting everything about yourself. And you see in front of you Dio. And then, as if you can feel a presence peering at you from behind, you turn and you see this cloaked figure moving out of the nothingness towards you. What does Dio say?
Well, he had a good fucking run, didn't he?
Death says to Dio, "Your power is growing. Many follow you. But this one's time has come."
You sure? He is the reason why I am this powerful, you know. Well, one of.
He doesn't say anything. He just keeps moving towards Kyle Black.
Listen. I'll make you a deal. I know how you work.
He's reaching a hand out.
You know how I work. How about we play a game for it?
He says, "But this one has kept many away from me longer than they should have. With your power, he has wounded many who should have died on the battlefield. It will be good to take him off the board."
But think of how many more he could deliver. There's always a give and take.
He stops, almost curious, and turns to Dio and says, "This is not your way. Why do you wish to keep this one?"
Well, mostly between you and me, I feel a little guilty. Got a little jealous. He was experimenting with some other, things. I may have, been a little spiteful, and that's just not fair.
What is your game?
A challenge.
Rochambeau that shit.
He reaches into the darkness and draws out a large weapon. What is the weapon that Death wields?
An axe.
Headman's axe.
Yeah.
Think of another one, Josh.
Fuck off, asshole. Should have gone first.
He's kind of slowly lifting it, and he says, "Who would dare to challenge Death?
Me.
What are your terms? Why should I spare this one to you?"
You spare this one? I'll give you half.
What?
Half the followers he brings for the rest of his days.
Again, you see that face almost begin to form within the hood. And it turns towards Kyle Black and says, "We are one." And fades away. Who's next?
Yeah, I'll
It's up
go.
to you.
Yeah,
You want 'em?
sure. Yeah,
Oh.
I'll go.
Okay,
All right.
good. Take my next weapon.
Dan, Mr. Helios, where are you?
He's probably not sure, but he's probably on sort of a rocky hilltop, and there's a tree that is, living. It's has its leaves, but kind of contrary to that, it is on fire. It's not burning away, but it is on fire.
Okay. And now we've talked about this a little bit. So unlike Kyle Black and Ariad, you're probably very unfamiliar with this place. You don't necessarily have a deity that you pray to or
Correct.
anything like
Yep.
that. So this is a jarring situation for Helios to find himself in. And who speaks for Helios?
I think it would be Andromaca.
Andromaca.
Yep.
The god of arsonists, or
Yep.
And what does Andromaca look like?
Andromaca, she has sort of like an alabaster skin, like very white, very smooth, and she has a halo of fire around her hair. and probably dressed in kind of simple black robes.
Okay. You see this figure, and then out from behind the burning tree steps the cloaked figure of death, wielding...
It's like a Kopesh, one of those big curved swords.
Cool.
Yep.
And he starts to float towards Helios and then stops when he sees Andromaca?
Andromaca, yep.
Andromaca. And turns towards her and says, I have already taken you.
I exist now with him. She points towards Helios.
Then I will take what is left.
I do not think that would be wise.
His time has come.
Yes, it has. But you must weigh the consequences. His actions now, they seek to restore balance. The same way I lost my life, you can lose yours. He is trying to stop that. The humans are coming for us. The old gods. They will come for you too.
Why do you think this one can stop it?
He understands what's happening. He sees it in front of him. And he has rallied others to fight for the same cause.
You are nothing. What could you offer me?
Your safety, your life. If you take him now, there will be no one stopping them.
His face turns towards Helios, and you see these eyes under the hood. And he says, very well. But his time has come. He has been marked. When all is done, he must be returned to me.
As will I.
As will all. Sapush.
Hello.
What's going on over there?
Nothing. I guess I didn't get killed, so everything's fine. I actually became a very small.
There's going to
rat.
be
Paint me a picture.
there's going to be so many otters wherever he ends up. Just
gentle undulating wave of otters. I think Sapush opens his eyes and he is standing in the middle of a forest, and it's very, very still. It's a forest in the dead of winter, but there's no snow on the ground. But there's nothing green. The ground is brown with leaves and rot and dirt. And it is completely still. The sky is kind of a ambiguous gray of, dusk or just overcast. And it's just still and quiet, and like a heavy kind of quiet. Sapushkas kind of looks around.
Okay. You take a few steps forward, and then you start to forget how to take steps. And what speaks for you?
I think a figure steps out behind a tree, and kind of long and lithe and adorned with natural clothing, kind of made right out of the growth of the forest. Head of or a crown almost of not thorns but kind of brambles, and it's David Bowie from Labyrinth.
Nice. Okay, I love it. Okay. And then floating almost above the trees, coming down towards you from the sky, is this cloak without a body inside. It seems just oblivion within, and wielding
A big, heavy black bow, like the bow that the Urukai captain has.
nice.
Just this, massive, dark, death-dealing weapon. Big, heavy shafted arrow.
I like it. The hunter the final hunt.
Yep.
So he just kind of floats above and he starts to notch an arrow into the bow, looking towards Sapush.
Hello, old friend. You're early here.
Death is always on time.
Not this time, I think. This one, it's not quite his time.
The arrow is notched, and he's beginning to draw the string back, and you see these sort of spectral hands on the bow, and they pause for a moment.
Nature kind of walks slowly around a kind of out of it Sapush, who's not even completely taking in. He's not really looking up and around. And Nature puts his hand down on Sapush's head as Sapush kneels on the forest ground. And he says, "This one is being taken unnaturally, Death, my friend. This is not our way."
There is nothing more natural than death.
Except when that death is coming from the unmaking of what we have. You see, Death, where he is, where my dear Sapush is back there, well, there's someone trying to undo everything that we hold dearest. And, well, they don't let me just jaunt down there anymore, so we'll have to leave it to ones like him.
I have heard of this, and there will be many others, many who die because of it. Many already have.
And if we don't put an end to this, my friend, well, I will miss our little engagements here, our handoffs. There will be another time for my dear Sapush to go to you. But not this time. All right, my dear?
He, holding the bowstring back, says, "What can this one do that others could not?"
Well,
Many follow you.
this one, he reminds me of the babe. He is
Wait, what babe?
the babe with the power. This one, he's not like the others, Death. He learns the same way the fawn does, by exploring. He doesn't serve me or follow me because of any kind of beliefs, just out of existence. And that's what we need, my dear. We need someone who's going to take care of the right ways, the natural ways, because that's how they are. And, well, he's there. And we are not. So let us make a deal.
What would you offer?
I will offer you what's at stake. Myself and my kingdom. Death kind of waves his hand, and suddenly there's like green glimmer of a bright full forest, of the wind brushing through it, kind of like at the edge of this barren kind of winter woodland, and then it fades away.
He unnotches the arrow and puts it into some invisible quiver. Very well. Sapush wakes up on a rock floor. You can feel dry blood on your face. You immediately start to cough as there's dust in the air. You can't see anything. You're in complete darkness. You know that the tunnel caved in, but somehow you were spared.
We can agree that David Bowie, nature god, definitely had sex with Death, like on a previous occasion.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So it was just like more of a lover's
Lot
quarrel
of tension
than it
in
was.
that room.
Yeah, right.
Sapush, giving you a new ability.
Oh shit!
Welcome to the jungle. Add jungle to your list of
Oh shit!
Nice.
of lands.
Nice.
That anaconda don't.
As you come to, as I said, it's dark, and you see a very, very faint glow coming from the tunnel floor ahead of you. Just a tiny bit of light from Kyle Black's staff.
So Push kind of tries to get some clean breath in, and then he closes his eyes and takes the form of a rat.
Okay.
And he's going to scamper through, sniffing and sensing, and making his way and trying to find Kyle.
Okay. You scamper over to the staff, and as rats do, stay right up against it and follow it to the light on the end, and then you find Kyle's hand, and you follow that to his arm, and then to some rocks. He's half buried in the rubble. You can tell because you can sense his heartbeat. As a rat, you feel these vibrations very well. You can tell he's still alive, but you're not sure, what kind of shape he's in.
I look around his pack, and I scurry down onto his waist, and I try to grab something in one of his little pouches.
Okay.
Something that I think he goes to for aid,
Oh, I see.
nourishment.
He's
Sure.
gonna baby bird this
And you're gonna-
shit right into your mouth.
All right. You find a little pouch.
Okay.
Matt, what does he find?
Put a small red clump of moss that has some small purple berries, kind of like the look of a cranberry attached to them.
Okay.
Okay. Rat Sapush will take that in his mouth and kind of drag it along Kyle's back. And is he face down or face up?
We'll say that he's face up.
All right. Up over that big old belly. And he'll take the moss and kind of drag it. And I think he's going to chew up the berries and then
So gross.
spit them into
So
his
gross.
mouth.
Just baby bird it right up.
Okay. That's what you wake up to.
Oh my god!
There's a rat, and his paws are on your chin, and his little beady black eyes are locked right into yours as he looks from your mouth then up to your eyes as they start to flutter open.
Get some, just licking my lips.
You see like a red paste all over the
Strong
rat's lips.
Strong eye contact.
Strong direct eye contact. He puts his nose like right in front of your eyes.
It's more bitter than I'd like to. Go! What the? Sapush? Oh, thank God. Fuck. Oh, fuck. Oh, these rocks. You couldn't have gone with something bigger? Help a little more?
Rat Sapush leans down again and grabs another berry and starts to move up towards your mouth with it in his mouth.
No. It's good. I'm up.
Your legs are covered in rocks. You're starting to get sort of pins and needles. You're not sure how much blood you lost. And one of your arms is kind of stretched out, the tips of your fingers just touching your staff, which you see a little bit of light coming from. And you manage to grab your staff and kind of increase the illumination so that you can see the situation you're in. So Kyle Black, you got a new ability as well. You've been doing your whole light spell from your staff, and you usually have a cool color. So from now on, whenever you cast light, any ally within range of the light gets +1 forward on ability checks of your choice, depending on the color of the light.
Dope.
And it is
Cool.
called Rainbow in the Dark.
Nice.
Nice.
So you illuminate the area around the two of you, and what color is the light?
We're gonna go with red. So that's a +1 forward on strength.
Okay.
Awesome.
And with that sort of boost, that divine help, you're able to pull these rocks off of your body.
Sapush is a big rat, and mechanically it is kind of still how it works. Your stats don't really change that much when you
Right.
shift.
Yeah.
So, but basically, he's gonna like squirm his rat body in where Kyle's starting to lift a rock and kind of push and just kind of help him heave it and roll it off to the
He's
side.
like he's
is
like
like-
New York style rat. He's like like cat
Dragging a
size.
pizza
Yeah, right. Dragging a pizza.
This is some
Absolutely.
Disney shit. That's what this is.
Some Ratatouille shit.
You start to clear the rocks off of him. And,
Sapush, Ned, just so you know, next time you don't have to chew it up and spit it. You just put it in my mouth or anybody's mouth. You don't have to eat it yourself, okay?
Sapush grabs another berry in his mouth, looks at you, very noticeably like chomps down once, and then turns and scurries off into the dark.
Kyle, when you get to your feet, start to get the blood moving again. You look around. You get to your feet, start to get the blood moving. You look around and you see that the cave-in has happened on both sides of the tunnel, blocking you from the exit that you had come through, but also from the main chamber where your allies, you assume, are buried. Somehow, this small kind of just 20-foot portion of tunnel didn't collapse. Meanwhile, Ariad, you awaken staring at a skull.
Like, knock it off.
You fell into this tomb, and some rocks kind of fall across your back as you disrupt them. But it seems like this sarcophagus saved you as the rocks kind of crumbled, the ceiling crumbled around you. And you get out of there, and this skeleton just kind of falls as you move away from it, falls out onto the rocks.
Oh, well, I try to I assume I'm buried alive in here style, right?
You look around the cavern, and you can see that the majority of the dome above you is still intact, but the center has collapsed. And Trinas must have flown out. So there's light, there's daylight coming down from above. But all around you, the floor is just covered in rock. You have to kind of scramble over it to move anywhere.
It's like 127 hours, but he has a claymore instead of a pocket knife.
You've got a guy that makes fire. Ariad.
Yeah.
You also get a new ability.
Cool.
As you very accurately said, the reason that Ariad is chosen is because he is actually willing to step through the mist and go to new places. So your ability is whenever you are in a new environment for the first time, you take +1 forward to discern reality. And that is called Ramble On.
Nice.
These all song titles.
You see a theme?
Well done.
You scramble up on top of some of the rubble, and you look down and you see a light coming from the rocks below. It looks like a flickering flame, and you make your way down to these rocks and you pull one away, and somehow you see wedged between two large boulders that came down. You find Helios.
Helios, are you alive?
Yes, I find myself whole.
Oh, wow. You are lucky.
Where is Trinas?
I kind of glance up at the opening in the roof. Gone, I think. Have you seen the others? Kyle! Sapush!
Help here.
Put a hand down. pull you out.
reach out and kind of slowly pry myself loose from between the boulders and climb up on top of the rubble. I kind of shake my head. I can't tell you what has happened.
What that you? Well, yeah. I mean, the ceiling collapsed, and I dove for that crypt over there. Thankfully, it was strong enough to withhold, and you got lucky. I don't know where Kyle and Sapush are, though.
I have a memory of something else.
Helios, you have many times talked about the sacrifice needed. Your new ability is called Jump in the Fire. When you expose yourself to danger with Hack and Slash, you add 2d4 instead of a d6 to damage.
Sweet.
That's taken right out of the alternate playbook.
Yep. Very cool.
The two of you are standing on this rubble, looking around at the partial domed ceiling around you, which now with the daylight spilling in, you can see hundreds of these statues of people that were buried here. And, a lot of them are busted open. You can see like skeletons and bones and stuff.
The body of the original gods visible?
In the center, it would have been in the center of the room.
Mm-hmm.
It's there, but it's underneath a pile of rock.
Have you seen the others?
No, I just found you.
They were further back, towards the entrance.
I look over there and where we came from, or at least try to figure out where we came from.
You see a rat scurry out from between two rocks, and
Sapush?
take from here, Josh.
I didn't know if it's just another rat.
send
Just
a
by
fireball.
coincidence.
I'd burn it.
I was giving you the look of and.
I'm like, I'm interested. What does this rat do?
I'm Mr. Rat.
Is it a sexy rat?
Is it a chick rat? Because I'm not that far away. The rat scurries forward and sort of like excitedly skitters around the floor in front of both of you, and then scampers actually up some rocks on the side and jumps onto your shoulder, Ariad, and starts to lean towards your mouth and has a berry in his mouth.
What? Oh. Ariad puts his hand
He
out.
spits. It's somewhat chewed up. He spits it down into your hand.
Thank you, Sapush. Puts it to his mouth like that.
Amazing. All right, good job.
That's fucking teamwork.
Where's Kyle? Have you seen him, Sapush?
Sapush scampers down quickly and heads towards the other side of this little opening and points towards a small little passageway that he crawled out of. Kind of looks back at you and looks into it.
Oh, through here. I try to start pulling rocks off.
Okay, you start moving rocks, and it doesn't take long before you manage to push one of the larger ones. It collapses a few on top, but then it opens up that small portion of tunnel where Kyle is, and he steps out from behind the rock like Jesus. Ta-da! You see the red light of his staff, and it makes you feel stronger. And you move those last few boulders and reach a hand out and help him onto the rubble where the three of you are standing.
Oh, well, the gods are good. We're all in one piece, more or less.
The gods.
Yeah.
But,
There's a new one now.
yes. And he left through there. How are we going to follow him?
Let us see the body of the old god.
I don't think
Alright.
it's going to be too difficult to spot a flying fucking dragon here.
Well, spotting him may be the easy thing. Bringing him down.
Helios is going to start kind of clambering across all the rubble and making his way to the center
Okay.
where the body of the...
You know where it is, but there's a lot of rock to move. You start moving it.
I try my best. I'm not
Okay.
very strong.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I help Helios out.
Okay. Yeah, so Sapush and Kyle, you see Helios and Ariad start moving rock.
What are we going to do with it, Helios? It's gone.
I think there will be a connection between it and him. Even though it is dead, blood and bone, they mean something.
What is Ariad's strength?
16.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. And with this kind of light empowering you, you guys see Ariad move a rock that you're like, wow, okay. He's stronger than we thought he was. You kind of pick up this pretty good sized boulder and push it out of the way. And as you do that, you can see the scales of its body. And that gives you kind of a place to work from. And you start pulling these rocks off of it. There's a lot of blood as well.
You said it was about 50 feet long. Right?
It is. So you don't uncover the whole body, but
Correct.
You guess correctly and move towards its head and uncover sort of the base of its wing, where its wings connect to its its body, and then its head. Its head is about I'd say about the size of like a dining room table.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And is it a serpent?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a snake. I mean, think of like the traditional D&D quotal. Is that what
Yep,
they're called?
yep.
But much bigger.
Okay.
Yeah. So the feathery wings and just a snake body.
And it's probably like 30 feet to the ceiling, something like that.
The ceiling is probably it's probably closer to like 80 to 100 feet.
Okay.
Yeah. As you finish uncovering it, you're kind of standing in the center of the room. So you look up and the edges of that ceiling look very unstable. You kind of have this moment of like, are we stuck down here? You're not really sure how you're going to get out.
Is it totally open, like to the sky?
The center. So think of, your typical kind of soccer dome where the middle is open, like there's there's that like circular kind of rough circular opening in the middle that is letting the sunlight in.
Okay. I think while Ariad and Helios are playing with the dead god body, Sapush is trying to make his way up there. Figure in his rat form, it's the easiest thing to kind of scamper, not be too heavy. And just going to see if he can find a path up there. Maybe it's a path the others can follow later, but also just kind of get up there and see what it looks like. See if this will be a reasonable way to escape once they're
Okay.
done
John,
with all this.
from a rules perspective, how many times can you shift or change?
It's unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I mean,
You're just trying
essentially,
not to,
it's the druid's only ability.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But I just try to get the juice out of each.
Yeah.
I
each
think
form.
you do a good
Yeah.
job of not abusing it
Yeah.
so
I agree.
far. Yeah.
'Cause otherwise, be like, well, I'll be a fucking a giant gorilla. I'll throw these rocks. And
Sure.
I'll-
Right.
Dungeon World is very much a game of like, do cool stuff. Don't be abusive. Like if you wanted to abuse the rules in
Yeah,
this game,
Sure.
it's not
Yeah.
hard to do.
Absolutely. I was just curious if it actually had any parameters around it, or I mean, like you said, if it's the druid's only. If
Yeah.
it's their core ability, it makes sense that it's kind of unlimited.
Yep. And you're limited when you take that form, you have a certain number of holds to spend.
Got
so
it, right.
kind of using
Yep.
that, which actually I didn't even roll for this one.
Yeah.
But
You make your way up there. You're on your way up. Ariad, you move the last few rocks and then you lean up against a larger one, kind of take a breather. And you guys can see, the head of this dead creature, this god to these people.
Helios, what is this place? Is it a Balakai tomb?
I believe it was, for lack of a better word, a church, a haven for the god itself.
Oh.
Perhaps these were his last followers. The god's power diminishes or grows with those that believe in them, with those that pay tribute to them. Jormor has been forgotten. But I am curious. I am curious that his body still exists, that perhaps there is some spark of the divine still in him. I need to think on this
Well, we gotta find a way out. I'll help Sapush. I wonder where he went.
Dan's up to something because he's looking up rules. So
Yeah. Jake, I'm gonna the move that I took last time I leveled up, the Ogdru Jihad, which is gain the wizard move ritual.
okay.
And basically a ritual when you draw on a place of power to create a magical effect, tell the GM what you're trying to achieve. And ritual effects are always possible, but the GM will give you one of the 4 following conditions.
Do you think this counts as a place of power?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
All
used to
right.
be.
Okay. Yeah. Give some thought to what
Sure.
exactly you're trying to accomplish.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
what is Kyle Black up to right now?
Well, he's definitely not helping them dig out the god's body. So he's probably sitting there. If it takes about an hour or so for them to do that, I would try to commune with Dio.
Okay. What does that look like for Kyle in this situation?
In these circumstances, he probably pulls out just a simple candle out of his pouch, finds a big boulder, sits on the boulder, lights the candle, pours some wax onto the rock, pulls out a small stamp and stamps down a goat's head into the wax, and then begins praying.
I like it. All right. Sapush. Rats are really good climbers.
Outstanding.
Make your way up across these statues near the ceiling, and you can tell that this rock of the ceiling is very unstable. I mean, it was basically blown open with lightning bolts, so it's not the best way to
Precision.
do it. Yeah. But you claw your way up, and you get to the surface. You get to the mountain above this chamber, and you looking down, you don't think that they could climb. You think they weigh too much. They're going to need to figure out another way. From where you are, I mean, you could just leave.
Peace out.
Yeah, you're good.
That's kind of the Sapush story. You could just leave.
Yeah. But you can see out, across the whole island. You're kind of at this high point of the island, and you kind of just look out over the sea and the jungle, and you don't see any signs of that thing. That
Okay. Nothing crazy, unnatural weather-wise happening out
no,
there.
it's eerily calm. Yeah.
Okay. Sapush will just scamper back down. I did roll belatedly, so my little rat form had 2 moves.
Okay.
So I figured maybe one of them was finding them and the other was, getting this whole path up and
Yep.
down. So
Yep.
I'll when he gets back down, he'll revert back to normal Sapush form.
All right. You were saying, where is Sapush? And then you see him scurrying back down, and as he lands on the rubble, he turns back into Sapush form.
He's kind of sitting, squatting down, kind of almost on all fours, leaning up against the rock still. And
Oh, Sapush, there you are. A way out?
yes, but not for you, not for us now. Too dangerous. We're too heavy. We'll need to find another way.
Well, maybe there's another entrance to this temple.
There were before everything fell down. I did look around and I thought maybe we could make for one. There were several other ways in and out. I do not know if they're covered now.
Well, might as well go find out. I don't know, me and Sapush will walk along the edge of this temple and look for things that are obviously doors or entryways. If they're covered, see how far we can get to uncover them before we give up and find another one.
Okay. Yeah, you guys start making a circle around the room and looking for that. Yeah, you can talk as you go if you want, or I'm just waiting for Dan to give me It's writing a lot of
His nasty-
words.
his
No,
nasty
no.
gram?
I was actually just writing something so I wouldn't have
Is
to
it,
explain
is this
it.
a nasty novel?
No, it's
Nasty novel?
So
You can.
Jake, you need to look at the ritual section down there.
Oh, God.
Fucking telling the
Jake,
DM.
you
what
need to do
do.
homework.
I need to. Okay.
No, it just there's 1 to 4.
Hey, Jake, take experience for.
It says GM. It says GM on it. All right.
I have
says-
this additional rule book that you need to read for my
GM will give you 1 to 4 of the following conditions. All right, Dan, what do you want to do with your ritual?
I want to see if I can discern some sort of tether between the body of the god and Trinos, so that we could find him.
I see. Okay. So this is sort of an information gathering ritual.
Yeah, and the idea, my kind of thought behind it was that I would take some like a scale from him, and that would be, of the god's body and somehow attached to the power that Trinos now has, and it kind of almost like a compass. Like it kind of when you hold it in your hand, you can feel which direction Trinos is in.
Yeah, so Jorah Moore had LoJack. And
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Would you like to report this god stolen?
I like it. All right. Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, it gives me a bunch of conditions
You can
kind of.
pick
Yeah,
between.
yeah.
You can pick up to 4, or you can pick 1. But also the
Probably a
immolators.
sacrifice in there somewhere.
The immolators version requires a sacrifice.
Of course. Of course.
Your left ear.
Well, I mean, this is
I'm running out
yeah.
of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Fucking Helios is going to come out of this venture looking like a Mr. Potato Head with no parts, no accessories.
all right. So the way this is going to work is you will have to make some sort of sacrifice. I'm going to leave that up to you to determine whether it's physical or what. And you can do this on your own. It's probably going to take a few hours, but if you get help from your companions, it's going to result in a more potent sort of connection to this scale that you're removing. So the more of them also provide a sacrifice, the more powerful this is going to be.
All right. Cool.
So you can role play up how that works in
Sounds good.
in role play terms
Okay.
with your companions. But you're studying the area and looking over its body and kind of thinking about how this is going to work. Meanwhile, Sapush and Ariad are walking the perimeter. You pass a few tunnels that look like they were never fully dug out. That's kind of disappointing. And then one major one that looks like it's collapsed, and it doesn't seem like there's anything like the tunnel has really collapsed. Like it doesn't seem like there's any getting through. And you eventually make your way back to Kyle after doing a full circle, and you're pretty sure that none of these tunnels are going to lead you out of here.
Did a lot of sniffing for fresh air.
Yeah. And when you make your way back towards Kyle, he has finished his communing with Dio.
Well, that's disappointing. Perhaps the cave-in behind us where you were isn't as bad. Maybe we can dig that out.
I don't think so, but maybe together, eventually.
Eventually. We don't have much time.
No. We need to find Trinos.
You can't. You don't suppose you could turn into Jorah Moore and fly us out of here?
No. That's not a thing of the land. I have no connection to it.
I think I know how to find Trinos. Helios says that from kind of in the center of this kind of echoey chamber that we're in.
I think something's getting burnt.
And how do you do that, Helios?
I can do it alone, but your assistance would make it all the more stronger.
All right, what do you need from me? Ariad just starts walking over.
Sapush strides over.
Matt, you're done communing.
Yeah, I'll stand up. I'll stand towards the back. I'm mumbling. I'm not donating any of my fingers for this fucking stupid sacrifice shit.
As we walk over, I don't know if we're actually have any hit points restored or we're still beat up, but
You're pretty beat up.
yeah.
It's like the end of Die Hard.
Wow, rip off from our own personal gods, not sending us back healed. Yeah, right?
Sapush puts his hand on Kyle's shoulder and says, "Thank you for helping."
Yes, well, now that I've spoken with Dio, I can help more.
I think we'll need it.
Helios has been kind of kneeling in front of like this big serpentine head, studying it for a while, and then he stands up and turns and looks at all of you. I know that you have all sacrificed in one way or another to be here, and I am sorry to ask you to sacrifice more. But the power of a ritual is often strengthened by these commitments. If you can think of something that you can let go of, that you can offer to the magic of this ritual, we will be able to find Trinos. Using a scale of Joromor, it'll act as a compass to find him. The divine is hard to kill. Like Steven Seagal.
Sacrifice. I had a strange dream that maybe was not a dream.
When
In the darkness,
Helios nods his head.
it was a different place. I think I'll go back there someday. But we must do this now. Whatever it takes, I think. Like why you are here. Ariad.
That's
You
why
need-
we're all here, Sapush.
Dio approves of this, Father Black?
I'd say so. In his own way. What are you trying to get us to sacrifice?
That is up to you. And the power of the ritual will be strengthened by whatever it is you do. It may not be a physical thing. It can be whatever you choose to give up for this fight.
I am ready.
Very good. Helios is going to summon a small fire, just kind of without, it has no fuel, it has no source, but it'll just be kind of resting upon the stone, the rubble around us. When you are willing, be it imagined or be it real, cast it into this fire, and the ritual will be complete. Helios is going to take a knife, kind of a stiletto dagger that he keeps, and he's going to pry a scale loose and hold it in his good hand.
A strong hand, child.
Yeah. And then he will also kind of have that kind of secondary hand, kind of just a fire where his missing hand is. And it'll actually hold the scale while we kind of go through this ritual together.
Sapush actually kind of turns around and he climbs up rocks like a little bit of ways, 6-7 feet up, and see him stop there and kind of take a couple deep breaths. He still looks pretty withered and withdrawn, and he turns back and he leaps off the rock, and in the air he transforms into this really beautiful bird, one of these bright jungle birds, birds of paradise kind of looking things of these islands. And he kind of flutters in the air a little bit, and then he lands on a rocky outcropping over the fire. And he kind of just sits there and then starts straining. And you see an egg.
Oh
Oh fuck!
Amazing.
emerge
no! No, baby, it's a push.
Oh man.
from
Wait, for
his
the record,
under-
is that the same as like jerking off into the fire?
I told you he's a little androgynous.
Oh no!
But this big, pretty large egg falls out, and it falls from Sapush's perch down into the fire, which is just crackling, and the egg just shatters, and it's filled with blood.
Awesome.
Spatters out, and you look back up, and this bright paradise bird is now kind of drained. It's just gray with some flecks of color, and I think Sapush is going to give up 1d4 points of Constitution. How's that sound?
1d4? Come on. Let's be reasonable.
Your sacrifices directly impact incoming events. So yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, he's rolling. Oh,
One.
you lucky
Oh
bastard!
my fucking lord.
You rolled. You rolled a
you
d4.
rolled. You rolled.
Yep. All right.
I mean, it still lowers me to.
That it's significant. Yeah, for
That's
sure.
my,
That's cool. Cool imagery too.
This fucking scale better teleport us to Joromor or Trinos. Go ahead.
There, pulls out a dagger. I've never really seen him use, and you realize it's very ceremonial, very pretty, but probably not very useful. Kind of stares at it, and then kind of flips it in his hand, and then casually tosses it into the fire. He says some words in Elven that you don't understand.
So mysterious.
Super expensive. Got it from a catalog.
I was going to say, it was like chumps.
Made in
It was
USA,
$2.
you know.
Just took me
Got it off
It was
Amazon.
like 3 months of fucking allowance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like one of those back of the magazine knives.
Awesome. Awesome.
Not available in California, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Sorry, there's a blade on both sides. So, are we keeping this super mysterious, or you gonna share? Okay,
I'm mysterious when I'm inside
keep
you.
it later.
Yeah, we'll
Yep.
find out
Alright.
later.
Who's next? Anyone else?
Me.
Helios? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, that was all a bit traumatic. Blood full of fucking an egg full of blood. Jesus, Sapush.
Sapush flies down and wearily settles on some low rocks and just kind of tucks his legs up under himself and sits very still.
I got you, bud. Well, I don't really have anything to sacrifice like that. I suppose the last thing I have would be the last of my rations. That's really all I have. And reach into my pouch and pull out a small bar of chocolate.
It's the good stuff.
You know what? I've been saving this for a special occasion. It was, well, when I was a kid, my mother brought me into a city and she bought this for a present, and I've had it ever since. Well, fuck it. If it's for the fate of the world and all, I'll toss it into the fire.
I want to meet Mama Black. I bet she was the kind of cool mom that let the kids kind of
As
party
long as
over
you
there.
do it in our house and we can, it's under supervision.
I think with each of these things, the fire kind of flared up a little to accept each one. And Helios doesn't say anything. He's got his sort of hand made of flame that's holding this scale in kind of a fist, and the other fire, the kind of fire of sacrifice, is kind of just floating just above the ground, where the egg and the dagger and the chocolate have all gone. And it flares one more time. And Helios is going to give up the memory of his family.
Brutal.
So the fire kind of flares one last time in front of Helios and then goes out. And the scale kind of he lets the scale tip out of his hand into his normal hand and just kind of feels it hot, kind of burning there.
You all stand around the body of Joramor as the sun sets above you, thinking about the all the sacrifices that you have made along this journey and about the strange visions you all had and what it means for your future. Kyle, you think about the sacrifice that has been sort of made for you by Dio and what it will mean when you convert people to believe in him from now on. And Helios, you remember for the last time your mother's smile when you were a child as the sun fades and the memory fades. And you all sort of sit there in quiet contemplation as the sun goes down. And sometime later, you hear a voice. Hello down there. You look up and you see a lantern at the top of the hole, and you see Captain Cohen waving down at you. And
That's great.
that is where we will stop.
Oh, shit.
Always depend on Captain Cohen.
Thank God for an NPC. Well, little Deus Ex Machina there.
A police car and a screaming siren, pneumatic drill, ripped up concrete.
Thank you guys for listening to another episode of our Into the Storm arc. If you're liking what you hear, tell a friend about it. Write a goddamn review on Apple Podcasts. Do whatever you can do to help us out and get the word out there. In the meantime, check us out online. We are at Nastygram on Instagram and Twitter. And the best place to interact personally with all the cast is at our Facebook page, the Nastygram RPG Lounge. Our intro music is by Wilhelm Scream. Scores once again by Adrian von Ziegler, and some new stuff from an awesome Finnish composer, Antti Martakainen. If you guys are missing Dean on this arc, go ahead and hop over to LSG Media. Listen to all their great stuff. He's on it all. LibertyStreetGeek.net. Thanks again, guys, and we'll catch you next week.
Days of speed and slow time Mondays. Missing out with rain on a boring Wednesday. Watching the news and not eating your tea. Freezing cold flats and death on the walls. I said that's entertainment. That's entertainment.
That's nasty.